Welcome back. You can add in assets to your Microsoft Clipchamp. You're going to see this area here that says Import Video. What you'll then notice is that you will see the video in your workspace. You'll need to click this green button here on top of the media to add it to your timeline. Once you add it to your timeline, you will then see a visual representation of the media on your timeline. Now, before we move on to the next section of this video, it's important to note that this process started in a private browser but would not continue. And so as a result, by clicking the play button, you'll see that the playhead doesn't move, nor does it show the video in the tray. You are going to need to have a browser that will allow processes to run and not to keep them all from running. And so now we look at this process again, now in a non-private browser. And one of the things you'll be able to see is that as we move the cursor, we can see different points in the video. And so we can edit this video using Microsoft Clipchamp at the place where we want it to be. So for example, let's assume that what we want to do is we want to bring it to a certain portion inside of this area. And we can use the S command to split the video here at this point. We can then split the video at another point. We can then delete this portion, and we can move the two portions together. So what we have is a video editor where we can edit existing files, and we can do it inside of our Microsoft Clipchamp account. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We can add other elements to import into our video. For example, we can click the Import Media button and we can bring images into our Microsoft Clipchamp. We can decide where we want the element to appear. For example, if we want to bring the cursor to a certain point, what we want to do then is we want to add it to this specific timeline. What Microsoft Clipchamp is going to do is it's going to add the image to the point on the timeline where we have the cursor. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to click Add to Timeline. You're going to see here that we have our image that's now part of our video. Now what we can do at this point is you'll notice here that this file in Microsoft Clipchamp says Untitled Video. Well, we want to change that to a specific file. Now we can also add in music to the timeline. For example, if you look on your left side menu, you're going to see that there is royalty-free music that you can add here. And what you're going to do, of course, is you will then choose the audio that you want. You can preview it here in this area. You can play it. And if you like it, you can then add it to your video. And you're just going to click the green button. You're going to add the audio to your video. If you want to see the entire timeline, you can actually zoom out and you'll be able to see the entire timeline. This will allow you then to go to this point in the video, to click the S button on your audio file, and then to delete the leftover portion of the audio file. You can then click on the audio file, and you can use a fade out effect. You can also use a fade in effect. And so basically now your audio will then fade in and fade out when you produce the final video. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We can add other elements to import into our video. For example, we can click the Import Media button and we can bring images into our Microsoft Clipchamp. We can decide where we want the element to appear. For example, welcome back. We are now going to start a new file in Microsoft Clipchamp. So we're going to click on the menu. We're then going to click on New Video. And we have a new video. We're going to give this video a title. In this case, we're going to use one of the recording options. So one of the first things we're going to do, we're going to choose the dimensions of our video. So for example, we're going to choose our dimensional video, and we're going to choose it to be a vertical video. What we're then going to do is we're going to then choose a camera style video. We are going to allow Clipchamp to use our camera. What we're going to do is to hit the record button, and for the sake of this video, our camera is actually going to be grayed out. We can then either retake the recording or save and edit the recording. And you'll notice now that our video will now show up with our camera feed inside of a vertical video. We can then add other elements to the video, such as text, and we can add that text to the place where we want it to be in the video. For example, we can then choose a specific title, and we can make it so that the title will appear throughout the entire video. What we can then do is to edit the text that will appear inside of the video. We can then position the text where we want it to be. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now at the dashboard of Microsoft Clipchamp. What we're going to do is produce a video where we have completed the editing. So we're going to go inside of a video where we have started the editing process. You're typically going to see a reload video button when you reopen a file, especially if you're not using the desktop version. So what we're now going to do is we're going to go to the export button, and what you're going to see here is we can determine how we're going to edit the video. We can edit to a 480 pixel format, 720 pixel, or a 1080 pixel file. Your video is going to export as an MP4 file. Now, if you have the upgraded version, you can also upgrade to a GIF file. Now, for the sake of this video, even though we would typically export as a 1080 pixel video, for the sake of this video, we are going to export to a 480 pixel video. And Microsoft Clipchamp will start the rendering process. And depending on your internet speed as well as how large the file is going to be, you will see there's going to be a processing time. Once you have your file, you can click this button to save the file to your computer. And your file will then be saved. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We are now at the dashboard of Microsoft Clipchamp. What we're going to do is produce a video where we have completed the editing. So we're going to Welcome back. Now inside of Microsoft Clipchamp, you can create a video from scratch, and this will give you a blank studio canvas, or you can start from an existing template. For example, we can start with an Instagram template. We can then choose the Instagram template. So in this case, we're going to choose an Instagram template. What we're going to do is we're going to say, use this template. What you're going to notice is that the template is actually only 7 seconds. So everything that you're going to do after this video will probably be the actual video. And you're going to be able to play the template in order to view it, in order to get started, and you'll see what it will actually look like in your video. So you'll notice that at the point of 7 seconds, that's when the template ends. And this is the point at which you can begin to record an actual video or import a video that's going to appear starting at the 7-second area. What you can also do is to edit each point of the template. We can click on any element of the actual template. So for example, you're going to see here we're clicking on the hand point element. We can change the fade. We can add in a filter to that element. We can adjust the colors of that element. We can adjust the speed of this individual element. And we can do the same thing for each individual element on the timeline. For example, we can click on top of this element. You're going to see the properties appear here on the right side menu, and we can make changes according to the controls that we are given. We can change the color. We can transform the text. We can change its appearance. We can fade it. We can filter it. We can adjust the color. Now you'll notice here that even though this is a 7-second template that covers the entire screen, if you wanted to have more of a contextual view, you can zoom out, and you'll then be able to see your timeline in its whole perspective. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now before we go back into the Clipchamp editor, it's a good idea to take a look at the brand kit, which comes with the upgraded version of Microsoft 365. If you have the brand kit or you are paying for Microsoft 365, you will be able to add in logos so that you can reuse them on your videos. You'll also be able to add in specific fonts that are specific to your videos. You'll be able to make sure that they are part of Clipchamp, and you'll be able to add specific colors that you use according to your brand. Now, this is not necessarily part of the brand kit or part of the premium program. You can also manage your products in specific folders. Once you have your folders, you can begin to manage your projects in these areas. So for example, we can take one specific video, we can move it to a specific folder. And again, we can make sure that specific videos are assigned to specific folders. We'll now go back into the editing area. And it's within the editor that you'll see access to the brand kit if you have it available. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. We have uploaded an MP4 video here into Microsoft Clipchamp. We're now going to add it to the timeline in order to add features to it. One thing that we can add to any video, in addition to the template, or in addition to music, as you have seen in previous videos, is you can add specific elements of stock video. And you can find these elements here in this area. You can then search for specific stock videos that you're looking for by using the search. Now you're going to notice that some of the elements are going to be available to you in the free version. Others are only going to be available to you in the premium version of Microsoft 365. So if you find one that you like and you hover over it, what you're going to do is you can add it to the timeline where you want the actual clip. You'll notice here that this clip has now been added to your video. And if you want to play it to see how it's going to look in your video, you can play the video. Now, if you want more details about the clip, you can click on top of the clip, and you'll be told about what the clip is actually going to do. You can then add the clip to your timeline. The clip can then be added. If you want to move it, you can move it. Now, in each clip, what you can do is you can click on top of the clip, and what you'll notice is that there are going to be elements here on the right side that you can customize. So for example, you can fade in the clip, you can filter the individual clip, you can adjust the colors of the clip, and you can adjust the speed of the clip and how it appears. And so each clip is going to be available for you to customize for the video that you are creating. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. Now, in the same way that we use stock video, we can also use stock images given to us inside of our Microsoft Clipchamp account. If we click on stock images here on the left side menu, you'll notice then that there are images that you can place on your timeline in various places in your video. And all you need to do is to make sure your cursor is where you want to insert the image, and then you will add the image to your timeline. And you will be able to see how the image is going to look in your video. You can also adjust the image how you want it to be. If you want to use the effects inside of the image, you can do it. And just as you would have in any other element, you will be able to customize the look of the element with your controls. If you want to find out about the image, you can click on top of it. You'll then be able to determine what Microsoft is thinking when they place the image and make it available to you. And as is the case with stock video, some of the images are going to be free, and you'll see a diamond as the indicator that the images are going to be premium or paid. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You can add in a text element to your videos. And you're going to see here on the left side menu that you've got a text menu. And basically, all you'll need to do here is to choose a specific font, and then you're going to write in what you want the font to say. What you're going to do first is you're going to determine where in the video you want the font to begin. What you can also do is click on top of the font to determine if there's going to be some kind of animation and what the font will actually look like. What we're going to do is we're going to click Add to Timeline. You're going to see that our font element has been added. What you can then do is you can stretch the font element. If you want it to appear throughout the entire video, you can do it, or you can determine where in the video you want it to appear. To determine how you want the font to appear, you're going to click on top of the font, and you're going to use the elements that you have on the left side menu. So for example, the actual text that we're going to be typing in will be here, and the font that we're going to use will be here in this area. So basically, you can customize the text that you want to highlight in your video. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You can also customize a graphic element any place on your timeline in your video. For example, you could go to your left side menu and click on Graphics. And just as is the case in other elements, you're going to see that some of these elements are only going to be available for the premium version. However, most of the shapes will be available to you with the free version of Microsoft 365. And so what you'll do is you will place your cursor where you want the image to appear. You will then add the image to your timeline. If you click on top of the image, Microsoft will give you more background on what the image is. If you click on top of the image, what you'll see on the right side are the elements that you can customize for this specific graphic. And just as is the case in other elements, you can place it on a specific timeline. You can then stretch it however long you want it to be. You can then click the play button to determine how the graphic is actually going to appear. And you'll see it here in this area. You can customize the element here in this area, and you can position the element where you want it to be. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. You can use transitions in Clipchamp in order to connect two distinct areas of your video. For example, if you go to the transitions area, you're going to see that there are going to be certain transitions available to you. You'll notice again that some of the transitions are only available for the premium version, but those that do not have the diamond are available for the free version. Now for a transition, what you're basically doing is you're going to drag the transition to the timeline between two clips that you have. We can take this transition, and you're going to see there's going to be a green button where we can add the transition. We will then place the transition where the green button is, and our transition will then be added. We are going to grab the transition. When we drag it to the area, you're going to see that there are going to be green buttons that will tell us where the transitions can be placed on our timeline. We're going to now make sure that we add it to the button, and when we release it on the button, the transition will then be added. We can then do this a second time. We can take this transition, a different one, and we can add it to the area where the transition will actually go. And then the transition will then be available. And you'll then be able to watch the transition to determine how it's actually going to look when your video goes through the transition phase. And you'll see it there in this area. And again, the transition. So you can use your transitions between two distinct areas of your video to connect them and give them continuity. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.
We hope you enjoyed today's masterclass. Explore Crespo AI for over 30 business tools, all in one dashboard.